Hello and welcome back everyone, I'm Day-Glo Buffalo and this is Let's Play Technobabylon. When we last left off, we were still in the trance, and Guy, our friend that is also hanging out in Cell HQ, gave us access to the security systems with which we can probably make our escape from Cell HQ, so, well, let's see what we can do with this. He said we could have access to a security drone. Or bot, or whatever. Okay. Cell Operations Autopsy Lab. Oh, okay, we've got control over this little guy here. Screens full of medical data. Even if the drone's optics had a high enough resolution for you to read them, you're certain they'd make no sense to you. We have a cutting laser. Well, Latha can probably use that to cut her way out of the waiting room. So I don't think we need to pick up anything else. Come on, move. There's Quince, who's nice enough to wait outside so that we can get up to our shenanigans in here. Alright. Okay. So that just kicked me out automatically. I guess there's nothing else to do than to revert back to meat space. And get to working on the drone.
Please do not interrupt active drone.
You won't sit still long enough to get it open. A utility drone. It probably carries things around the building.
Okay, once it's...
Please do not interrupt active drone.
You won't sit still...
That is indeed a problem. Can we...
I may be good, but even I can't breach it quickly enough. That officer would see me.
Alright. Can we stab it with a scalpel?
That doesn't need surgery.
Apparently not. Can we do something with this tarp? Apparently, well, I guess we need something to interact with, and we don't have anything to interact with. Or
Come on, shoo!
I had to click on the drone.
Power contact lost.
Oh, so it gets its power from the floor? And so if you isolate it, it stops. Interesting.
This might be useful.
What, the cutting laser? Yep, picked up cutting laser. So let's see. Let's pull the table back across the room. A little bit at a time. And once more. Get on the table. And use our cutting laser. That was unceremonious. Thing just dropping out like that. But we're free. We're out. Yay. Germination 101. 8 hours later.
Ahem.
Dr. Lau, you have a visitor.
Oh,
Good evening, Dr. Lau.
hello. And you are...
Surely you recognize him.
Do I? Shirley,
Oh,
yeah?
Dr. Vargas, you're the Central Operations Coordinator.
Quite so, young lady.
I apologize for the mess, sir. If I'd known we were going to have such important visitors.
That's quite all right, Dr. Lau.
What brings you from the Fulcrum Tower, sir?
A most grave matter, I'm afraid. One I believe you specifically to be most suited to handle.
Shall I, Father?
Please do, Galadea.
Central, I believe the audio EM capture system in this room to be faulty. Please run a deep diagnostic on the system.
Certainly, Miss Vargas. Beginning scan.
We have perhaps 2 minutes until the diagnostic cycle is complete.
Dr. Lau, have you heard of a gentleman by the name of Baxter?
Dr.
Yeah.
Adam Baxter, convicted murderer?
And a brilliant engineer in his time.
Yes, I've heard of him. My partner had a history with him. His parole hearing and eventual release really got to Dr. Regis.
Quite so, poor Viksha. I don't think Charlie ever got over it. And unfortunately, it appears that he's taking things into his own hands.
You know Regis personally? What happened to Regis?
Dr. Lau, when did you last see Dr. Regis?
Last night, before Central went into siege mode. Why? What's happened?
This morning, Dr. Baxter was found dead in his workplace.
Oh, no. Oh, Charlie, no.
I share your concern, Dr. Lau.
Central believes Dr. Regis to be the most likely suspect. He would have known that Central would be unable to provide oversight during the siege.
And he had no shortage of motive, as I'm sure you'd agree.
Okay.
You have a connection to Regis as well?
Quite so. He worked for me in a research team, as did Baxter in the same project.
And Viksha Regis.
Precisely. We lost half of the team in one fell swoop that day.
What do you want
It
me to
just
do?
doesn't sound like him, though. He had other outlets, like his garden.
I don't fully agree with Central's assessment either. That is why I'm activating you on this case.
You want me to investigate Baxter's murder with my partner as the prime suspect? Isn't that a pretty serious conflict of interest?
It is within my prerogative to select agents I feel appropriate for casework, if necessary. Using it to aid an old friend, a good man, like Charlie Regis, I think that's worthwhile.
Remember that your primary responsibilities are to the law and to this city.
Why did you cut Central's feed in here?
You're the controller of Central Operations. Why would you need to cut the camera feed with a trick like that?
I apologize, but for the sake of city security,
Yeah, can't tell me. Classified, ultraviolet A, etc.
I'm glad you understand.
I might understand, but I'm not happy about it.
noted, Dr. Lau.
I think I've heard enough.
That's good to hear. I'll have Galatea email the case data to you. If I can be of any further help, don't hesitate to drop by my office.
At the top of the Fulcrum Tower, make an appointment beforehand.
Diagnostic cycle of monitoring systems complete. No wetware or firmware anomalies detected. However, please ask Dr. Regis to stop obstructing the lens assembly.
I wish you luck with your work, Dr. Lau. For Regis's sake.
Well, that was fairly convenient. It took exactly the right amount of time for her to run the... or for Central to run the diagnostic. Wait, where'd they go? There is, like... there's nothing here. We can't... There is no part of the building that we can see through the window, but... Anyway. So... They T-mailed me, which... I will assume stands for transmail. What do we have, first of all? A traveler, a jolt gun, and some wetware.
Got to wait till the AI lab have had their turn analyzing her. Then she's all mine.
That doesn't sound creepy at all.
She's expensive. I wonder if I can persuade Regis to let us keep her.
Uh-huh. Can we wetware
Got to
her?
wait till the AI lab.
Nope. So, let's check out our terminal and see if we got the case file. Centralized emergency logistics. Power. Sure. VoIP. No, we need... What do we have here? Larceny with composite harm to health of individual targets. Mindjacking, that's the case file that we've already seen. So let's see. Here we go. From Vargas, Galatea, Civad. Received 11th of July. Subject case file. Dr. Lau. As authorized by City Systems Administrator Dr. Eduardo Vargas, please find access to the investigation's case files enclosed. If you wish to discuss the case in person with the administrator, please make an appointment beforehand. So here's the case files, and it looks like a ton of stuff, actually. So, okay.
Ow! Hey, what was that?
Download case file. What the hell happened to Lau? Okay, Regis. From Regis, received 10th of July, 87. No subject, Max Lau. Okay, there's nothing here. There's no text, there's no attachments, no nothing. Central, CSO. Dr. Lau, thank you for the summary of the so-called mindjacking investigations. It is evident that some of Dr. Regis's talent in investigation has found its way into your work, but please be aware that you need to also emulate his less helpful. You need not also emulate his less helpful behavioral patterns. Okay, and Lau Edward. Please come home, Max. It doesn't matter what Mom said. I don't understand why you did it either, but I'm not going to judge you. I miss you, and they won't admit it, but Mom and Dad too. Please come home, Max. That city, that life, it'll change you, Eddie. So I guess that's her brother. And, maybe I don't really understand why you did it. Is in reference to her having changed genders, but I don't know. It really doesn't matter if it'll come up again if it's in any way relevant to the story, but I can't imagine it being. So this is the category: homicide, breaking and entering, abuse of public office. Case officers assigned: Lau, Dr. M. Outline: on 11th of July, 87, Dr. Adam Baxter, I guess PN stands for personal number or whatever, 629384, was found dead by coworkers at the Vickerman Tatsumoto Telepresence Laboratory in the Northeast Network. Cell has been contacted and case officer Lau M activated for investigation. Victims to date: Baxter, Dr. Adam, former organic computing researcher for City of Newton, recently paroled from rehabilitation sentence. Suspect: Regis, Dr. C, cell agent. Spouse of Viksha Regis, victim of murder by Dr. Baxter, was detected entering laboratories on 10th of July 87 and leaving 128 minutes later. Action: suspect Charles Regis has been unreachable and has historically demonstrated a high anti-civil behavior index. With such a strong motive, his apprehension for questioning is a priority. Lau M assigned to investigate crime scene, Vickerman Pharmaceuticals. All right. Oh, we could call Regis, but that probably wouldn't help.
No answer.
Gee, that's a surprise. Can we get into his terminal maybe and find some information? Nope. Oh, his desk maybe.
Sorry, Regis.
Picked up photograph.
A physical photograph. The team, February 2067.
The team, February 67. Nina, Adam with his face scratched out, Eduardo, Gwen, Vicky, Charlie. So that must be the research team that they all work together on.
Regis is probably the only person I know who'd want his picture on paper. I guess defacing a digital one just isn't the same.
Yeah, that's too easy. So, you can access any data that might be on the screens more quickly through your own wiring. Nothing in the bin. So, I guess we'll head out to wherever, was it Vickerman Pharmaceuticals that we were supposed to check out? Oh, so we can go to Fulcrum Tower, which is where Dr. Vargas, was it, has his office, the crime scene, and back to HQ. So let's go to the crime scene. Vickerman Pharmaceutical Laboratories.
Wow, that's a lot of green. Excuse me.
Great, they finally sent someone. You here to get the body out?
Maybe. I'm Max Lau, cell case specialist.
No kidding. I'm the lab director, Dr. Zvidzai Chigwa. Make it quick, I'm busy.
What do you
What's
do
your
here?
role here?
I'm the supervisor for the telepresence factoring labs. Most of it's automatic. I just make sure it's all running like it should.
Sounds like a big responsibility.
It's a lousy job most of the time. TP is where management sticks people they don't want in public-facing roles.
You're not happy with it?
For the last few years, my career has been one disaster after another. I'm just glad it's plateaued into some kind of stability.
Well, public-facing roles aren't for everybody. What's
Can you tell me what happened?
Baxter got killed.
In any more detail?
When we started this afternoon, a whole lot of samples had been tampered with. We tried to call Baxter to find out what the hell was going on in the specimen bank.
And he didn't answer.
He didn't. Turned out the door to the specimen bank was locked too.
You haven't seen the body?
Nope, not in person, if that's what you mean. We got the camera feed online, but it was obvious that Baxter wasn't going to be coming out.
When did you last see him?
Guess it could have been Wednesday?
So he could have been killed any time in the past 3 days?
I guess, but it wouldn't fit with everything else.
What is this place for?
What's the purpose of this lab? Plant studies?
Yes and no. It's a TP lab, telepresence. There's a lot of research that's not exactly legal in some countries.
But in Newton, pretty much anything goes.
Exactly. If someone in the EU needs research done on something hazardous, infectious, or endangered, they send the orders here and we carry out the testing.
What sort of research?
Mostly we make new angiosperms from scratch. That's flowering plants to you.
Gee, thanks. Why would people want new flowers?
Sometimes it's a drug delivery method. The earliest commercial examples were fruit that grew packed with insulin. A lot of new wetware begins its life as engineered fruit too.
Must be awkward if they cross-pollinate in the wild.
And a legal headache. Part of our job is making sure the copy protection works.
Copy protection in plants? Ouch.
Plants with DRM. That's the future. Who else works here?
Aside from yourself, who else works in this laboratory?
There's my intern, Martin Meester, operates the factoring line. If you meet him, it's easy to see why they put him in here. And until recently, there was Dr. Baxter.
Meester?
Tell me about Mr. Neester.
He came over from Eurofed on a study program. He's young. I guess we're all like that in our youth.
Good colleague?
He's all right. He got on board with that annoying Maladist trend. He knows how to follow instructions, so I let him get on with it.
His visa still active?
Dr. Lau, we do not employ undocumented illegals in this lab.
Just have to check. I'm sure you understand.
Maladist? Wait, some kind of sickness?
Tell me about Dr. Baxter.
Oh, he was bad enough to work with in the 60s. As part of his parole, they stuck a governor in his head. Since then, it's like talking to a badly written synthetic.
You don't care for him a great deal.
That man killed Vicky. Frankly, he deserved what he got.
But you still work with him.
He worked for me. It was another part of his parole. Vickerman's management persuaded centralized government that his skills were going to waste in prison. The company wanted him supervised by someone who knew him. Hence, they dragged my sorry ass in.
What did you have him doing?
He organized the specimen bank. It's the kind of thing we could just leave him at for hours on end. Days, sometimes. Really, it could have just been done by the facility's AI, but I had to give him something.
Otherwise, you'd have to talk to him?
Exactly.
What do you think happened?
You've got a keen mind. What's your take on this?
Hey, I'm not the detective, young lady. You know what I think? I think Regis did what they ought to have done 20 years ago.
Why do you say that?
Seems logical. We've got him coming into the labs on security, then we got him coming out an hour later. When we get here, we've got Baxter's corpse contaminating the specimen bank.
Anything else?
Well, something strange. Since we got in, we keep finding samples that have been tampered with. Looks like he spent his hour here messing up the genomes of our specimens.
That quickly?
If anyone was good enough to do it that fast, it'd be Charlie.
But why? Why would you want to mess up the genomes of plants?
You knew Regis as well.
Yeah, I was on a research team with him and his wife back in the 60s. Baxter, too.
You've apparently known him a long time. Does this seem like something Regis would do?
Oh, after what he did to Vicky, I'd have strangled Baxter, too. I tell you, if he did do it, I wouldn't blame him one bit.
Do you think he did it, though?
I don't know. He was always kinda shady.
Tell me about it.
They made him do some real awful stuff out in the hot zones.
Such as...
Let's just say his escape led to a whole lot of people being jailed for war crimes.
Interesting. What's that you're
You
working
seem
on?
preoccupied.
That obvious, huh? We found a couple of specimens that Regis tampered with in his hour here. So I gotta run through the catalog and dig out the backups.
Sounds straightforward.
Not when there's 11,000 samples to take. Oh, I could punch Regis for this. Though, I want to shake his hand for Baxter so it kinda evens out.
What's wrong with the sample?
What's been done to the samples?
He's used a customized viral vector to add huge amounts of junk DNA to their genomes. These are the last two I found, Medioflorens interensis and Linacia lawsonis.
May I have a look?
Do you think it'll help?
Just a hunch.
Sounds like there's somebody talking.
Huh. Non-binary. Quaternary data string?
What do you mean?
My wetware systems are interpreting the genomes of these plants as sections of an audio file. He's used the DNA to store information.
Oh.
You think so?
It's incomplete. The two samples only make up a third of the data. But M and L, my initials? This can't be a coincidence. He's left a message.
What does it say?
Not sure yet. I could probably construct the whole message if I can find where he's hidden the rest of it.
Safe to say it's in the other plants he's gengineered. Here, take this. You can sample DNA from the plants around the lab. If you run out of sampling cartridges, you can reload it at this console.
Thanks. How long would it take to sample everything in the lab?
Oh, only a couple of years. We have over 11,000 subjects. You're better off looking for specimens that would fill the gaps in the clue he left.
Okay, so we got a DNA sampler. There's two samples that they found, and they said it's a third of the audio files, so we need 4 more. Okay. But we can't sample everything because there's too many of them. So how do we find out which ones we need to sample? Remind me how... Well, she already explained. Let's just check it.
So, how do I build more of the message?
You've got to use the sampling tool to get DNA from the plants around the lab. The sampler can take 3 readings before it needs to be reloaded. In some areas of the lab, the atmospheric controls will prevent the reading being taken.
Apparently, he wants me to find certain samples. I've got to think about where I'm going to find them.
Darn right. We've got a whole lot of A right now.
All right. So, man, this is going to take a long time.
So, you worked with Regis and his wife, as well as Baxter. Did you also work for Dr. Vargas?
That pompous ass? Yeah, I worked for him.
You don't care for him.
He was a competent researcher, but he lives for politics. Everything was always about making the world a better place.
And you don't think it should be better?
It's a nice idea, just not realistic. And what we ended up making, it was actually never mind.
Specimen bank.
What happens in the specimen bank?
It's where the samples of plants and growth matrices are stored. There's a huge library of subjects to work with, natural and man-made.
And that's where Baxter worked?
Yeah, it's not exactly taxing. I wanted to see what he could do since they put a governor in him.
You left him to work alone in there?
I'll be honest, he was not a pleasant man to talk to.
The message.
I wonder why Regis hid a message inside the DNA of these plants.
DNA's been used as a data storage medium before. Rather than on-off binary, DNA would be quaternary bits. Adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. If he just left a message on one of the systems, though, or even on paper...
Then someone could have destroyed or erased it. Short of burning down the entire lab, they'd have no way to be sure they destroyed a message hidden like this.
Especially since he scrambled so many of the other samples as camouflage.
He needs to make sure it's found, and based on the layout, he wants me to find it.
Okay, but how? I mean, I know the mechanics, but I can't sample everything, so I need to have a clue as to what I'm supposed to sample.
Have you found anything else with added genetic data?
As a matter of fact, I have. There was a batch of Orchidaceae isotria in the growth lab, and... Can't remember exactly which specimen the other was. I do remember that it had yellow flowers, spiny toxic leaves, and very, very small fruit.
So yellow flowers. I'm writing this down because this is probably going to be important. Spiny, toxic leaves, and tiny fruit? Was it?
Have you found anything else with...
As a matter, there was a batch of Orchidaceae isotria,
And...
I do remember spiny toxic and very, very small fruit.
Small fruit. And the other one was Orchidaceae isotra? Because, yeah, that's probably the clues for two of the things that we have to find. So let's see,
Why
security.
didn't the facility's CI detect Baxter's vitals suddenly failing? It's a potentially hazardous environment in here.
We were wondering that as well. This afternoon we noticed the monitoring system in the sample lab was in recursion. All hell broke loose when the CI suddenly realized what had happened.
So either you've got a technical fault with the software or wetware interfacing,
Which is unlikely given how much they cost.
or someone breached the security systems to cover Baxter's murder. That gives me more hope. Regis would have no idea how to do that.
Research with the Regises.
What sort of research were you conducting in the 60s?
You mean with Charlie and his wife? You might not believe it, but we were the people behind Central.
Central? The city governing AI Central?
The same. Newton was looking for a coordinator AI. Vargas put together a team, including the new Mr. and Mrs. Regis.
Nuke me. Regis never mentioned anything about this.
It wasn't a happy memory for him. He left after the unpleasantness. We finished the project a few months later.
Huh. Might explain why he hates Central's guts.
All right, I think we're finally done with this conversation. Well, I apologize. This episode is going to be mostly conversation, apparently.
Is that
But-
all?
For now.
Then if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to work.
But as I was saying, that is kind of the danger with adventure games. And sometimes RPGs, but oh well. Yellow epigeal plant.
I'd better not. If I start taking every single specimen, I'll be here for days.
Can I at least look at them? So we've got yellow flower, big leaves, and big fruit. So yeah, that's not what we were looking for. Blue plants, also not what we were looking for. There's an airlock here, production lab over here. red flower tree. And that's it. Gene sequencer, that... Hold on. Yeah, here we got the DNA sampler. I think we'll only need that. Can we interface with this?
It's only compatible with the sampler tool.
I guess not. Can we interface with this?
Better
guy?
not. It might tell the lab director.
So there's either production lab or the airlock. The airlock sounds kind of interesting.
Warning. Security clearance not valid for access to growth lab. Bickerman Pharmaceuticals thanks you for your cooperation.
Well, I guess not, so let's go into production lab. And that's Neester.
Hi there.
The barber envies your good fortune.
Okay. Not sure what the barber has to do with anything, but sure, I'm Dr. Lau.
My name's Dr. Max Lau. I'm a cell case specialist.
When do you offer a mechanical holiday?
You're not making any sense.
Whenever the teacher told you the shortest way.
Are you alright?
Utter nonsense loves to love.
Okay.
Can I get your name?
The light at the end of the tunnel would die for a grapefruit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's any use talking to this guy.
I give up.
An evil engine of desire wrapped within a rude message.
Okay. He either doesn't speak the language, as in he thinks that words have different meanings than they actually do, or, well, there's a toolbox, or he doesn't want to talk to us.
I can't figure out what any of these tools are for.
So here we got red plants, blue vines, another access to the airlock. What are these guys? Production line.
Is a person of the worst living as a survival pull the battle of long-term stavers in the roots?
Alright, I won't touch them.
Okay. Yellow blooms.
I better not. If I...
So, big fruit, yellow flowers, and not spiny leaves. So, these also aren't the plants we are looking for. These are not the plants you're looking for. So, let's check out the seed bank. Oh.
Oh god, what a mess. Nothing unusual found on the body, Central. Estimation on time of death?
The climate control in the specimen lab is ambient temperatures
Oops.
just above freezing.
I clicked by accident, and so I skipped part of the dialogue, but basically, in case you didn't read it, what it said was that the climate control here is screwing with the temperature readings for the body, so Central can't determine an exact time of death.
Nothing unusual found on the body, Central. Update, Central.
What is the situation, Dr. Lau?
Dr. Baxter is certainly dead. He's been decapitated, and not cleanly either.
His head has been removed.
More like destroyed. At a glance, this would be the most likely cause of death.
What is your estimation of the incident, Dr. Lau?
There's too much we can't say for sure. We don't know precisely when Baxter was murdered. We can't even be sure that this was the cause of death.
That is a fair assessment. A clearer picture will no doubt follow the autopsy.
Don't send in anyone yet. I still need to carry out a preliminary.
I understand. Continue your investigation of events surrounding the incident.
Understood. Lau out. I hope I can find something to get Regis off the hook.
So, seed bank console. Are there any plants that we can sample in here? Because we still haven't found the one with the yellow flowers and the spiny toxic leaves and the small fruit. No, it doesn't look like there's much of anything here. So, seed bank console. Affloia teiformis, undergoing weaponization, specifically targeting pollinating insects. Ooh, Nice, Greater Han Republic. Well, that sounds like very quaint research. Anonaceae reticulata. Attempts being made to isolate useful genome sections and reduce incidence of fatal consumption side effects. Avena sativa, the common oat. New strains are currently in development to cope with rapidly changing European climate. Well, climate change. Detail Aureliaceae paleopanax. Formerly extinct genus is in ginseng family, being brought out of extinction. Klein, USA, Concord. Apiaceae silphium, formerly extinct branch of Apiaceae, being tested for use as contraceptive, abortifacient, additive to food. Huh. Acaraceae brasileira, discovered recently in the Amazon Conservation Zone. A brasileira is being tested for any marketable traits. Begonia coccinea, or coccinea, I don't know. That would be the Italian version. Edible member of Begonia genus being developed as convenience food. Modification to increase sugar content. Brassica oleracea, cabbage, undergoing testing to increase volume through water content. Heliconia sanmarcosa, custom-made heliconia plant, tailored as vanity project for current Ecuadorian President Miguel San Marcos. Linum extremis, testbed for artificial enhancements and climate survivability. Linum is something they make fabric out of, I think. Liliaceae sparkus, engineered producer of delivery vector for recreational hallucinogen spark, i.e. spark fruit. Chromeria bicolor, parasitic and extremophilic adaptations of specimen are being targeted for use in other projects. Malia azadorak, or azadorak, high quality timber, engineering underway for more uniform cuboid shape. They want to make timber a cuboid? Nice, so you don't have to cut it. Malugo verticillata, carpetweed, fruiting mechanism under modification for use in robust crop. Nitraria panaceae, salt-tolerant shrub, fruit being modified as production delivery mechanism for COX2 inhibitor analgesic. Pisum sativum, garden pea, addition of extra nutritional components sourced from other organisms, especially raised protein content. Trirudaceae cupea, lacks chlorophyll, genes controlling non-photosynthetic properties being tested in other specimens. Xenosporans tizardi, extremophile found on asteroids and comets. X. Tizardi grows dangerously quickly in our atmosphere. Ecohazard. Oh. A plant found, or at least, a genus of a plant found on an asteroid. Yeah, the problem is that I still haven't found anything useful. We didn't find... what was it? A Sotra that we have to look for, and the plant with yellow flowers and spiny toxic leaves. Not sure how this helps us, but I think, well, we're gonna have to end this episode here. I apologize for the contents of this episode, which was mostly conversation and like me reading through the specimen bank, so not a lot happened, but as I said, that is unfortunately the danger with adventure games. Anyway, I still hope you found this interesting and enjoyable. If you did, please leave a like or a comment below, and I will see you in the next part. So until then, have a good one.